there's a huge push for people starting internet businesses or internet-based business, and there's a lot of talk about that. But this is the truth of the matter: all businesses cannot be internet-based. They can have leverage, they can be improved, and they can improve the profitability of an existing business by having an online presence and using social media. That's smart. But what's not smart is thinking that you, with no experience, nothing to offer, is going to leverage nothing into something on the internet. One of the reasons a lot of internet businesses fail, a lot of people don't scale up, is they don't really have a compelling proposition. There's just nothing they can really give, because it's like, hey, I'm hot, I'm really smart, and here's some. No. One of the reasons, and this is something I learned offline years ago. Clark Howard said this. If you don't listen to Clark Howard, it's a pretty good show to listen to about saving money and actually learn about life, because he drops a lot of jewels. One of the things he said, and I remember this was years and years ago, that people who make the transfer from working at a job to being self-employed as a consultant, the ones who are usually the most successful are the ones who had a very successful career with some longevity, because they were able, they had several things. Number one, experience. Number two, connections, and people that knew they were good to refer them to people who did not. So if you're just like, hey, I want to have an internet business, I want to sell X, Y, and Z, but you don't have that, it's going to be very daunting. And that's one of the things that cracks me up, because I was in the storage business for a long time. I was obsessed by the storage auction business. And I noticed that when I would talk to the writers, like, oh yeah, sit down, and it doesn't take me long to get this stuff up, because I'm not really creating anything, I'm downloading something that's already there. That's the difference. When I start with the fiction stuff, who knows what the hell's going to happen. Hopefully I can be as speedy as I am, because I crunk out 3 books in 1 year. There's a lot of people who've been working a lifetime on one, but I wasn't creating, I was downloading. That's a huge differential between the two concepts. So if you want to start an internet-based business, this is my advice to you. You must have a product or service that someone wants. Number 2, you should be really good with that product or service. Number 3, you should know how to sell and market. Now, I see a lot of stuff, and there's a whole bunch of smart people out there that have leveraged the web, and they have 100 websites, and they're making $10 a day with AdSense from 100 websites. So at the end of the month, it looks pretty good. I looked at that and I was like, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to throw stones at people who do that stuff, but I didn't want to do it. It was, one, very unfulfilling for me, because one of the things I've learned from my first 5 businesses that went up in smoke is when you do stuff strictly for money, you're going to run out of gas at some point. The money's only going to take you so far. You're just going to be like, yeah. Then you're going to get to a point where and I knew, I didn't want to be going out getting domain names and setting up all these websites. And it's not exciting to me. Like I said, I'm not throwing stones at people who do it. It's just not exciting to me. And let's talk about, back in the day, I was always that guy that did, when this new multi-level marketing thing would come out, I would go to the meetings, and there were cheerleading sessions, rah, yeah, you can make all this money, and you just have to invite you and maybe 5,000 of your closest friends. And over a period of time, after going to these meetings, and the presentations all start to sound the same. And then whenever someone comes to me with one of those multi-level marketing pitches, when that's like, what is it about? What's the service? What makes you better than the other guy? And they say those words, I can't tell you. You need to see the video of the presentation, or you need to come out. At that point, for me, just my opinion, it's garbage. Just me. It's my experience. It's garbage, because if they can't tell you, if there's more of an emphasis on bringing people in to so-called enrich their lives versus actually selling the product yourself, I'm not going to say that you can't get rich doing that, because obviously people are, but there's not only so many people who are going to make really good money. Because the thing with multi-level marketing, all multi-level marketing is not the same. I'm not going to paint it with the same broad brush. But what I will say is, if you're a people person that's well connected already with a bunch of people who like you, you're going to do much better in the multi-level marketing business than someone who just knows a few people. It's a relationship business. It's like social media. That's the big secret. And also, well, a lot of you don't know, and some of you may know, you can buy in. Like, there's some people, like, I'm a diamond, they bought in at diamond, or they bought in at gold level. They did not work up from, and they'll tell you, yeah, we're sitting at the kitchen table, and me and the wife were talking, and we both started off at, dirt level. Yeah, we started off at dirt level, and 6 months later, we were diamonds. No, those son of a guns bought in at diamonds, believe me. So, it's about a story. But that stuff, I did all that stuff, and I just found out that the best way to build a business is to create something new or take a product or service and do it better than it's been done currently. But yeah, that's the deal with the storage. That's the deal with the internet business, because you've got to hustle. There's people I've followed and I've looked at, and I've noticed a trend of folks who are really successful on the internet with their businesses. They've all been working at it a very long time. 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, which is the trait of an entrepreneur. See, this is the thing. Most people are like in love with, like take Instagram. That's like the hot thing. Instagram isn't that old. It sold to Facebook for $1 billion. Everyone that was there, because I think the funding was at $7 to $10 million bucks. So everyone there made out like bandits. But let's look at that. Let's talk about Instagram. Instagram was bought not so much because it was a great technology. It was bought as a hedge because Facebook wants to be in control of the picture sharing business, and Instagram is like the hottest thing. So you can't beat them, buy them. So that wasn't like, a lot of times success is based on timing, and there's so many different variables. It's not like, because Flickr's been out there, but Instagram works very well with this little guy. And this little guy is like everywhere. And it was a smart move. I'm not mad at Facebook, but, just look at, there's more to the story than what they built. It was timing. Facebook is trying to grow. Facebook knew this IPO was coming, and they had to do certain things to remain competitive. Sometimes when a business buys another business, it's not buying it because it's a move to increase the business. Sometimes they're buying it to cut them off. It's like, hey, we're going to absorb them so they don't kill us later. That's a business. I've seen it, I've seen it a lot. So in this internet thing, and I'm not saying that you can start where you can't start where you are and build some, but no, it's going to take time, and it's going to take this huge educational curve. Unless you have some knowledge in you that people want, you're just not going to be successful in the internet space. This ain't going to happen. But the thing is, you can get that knowledge and you can start working today. But the thing is, you have to understand it's going to take time, because what's predicating this video is I'm starting to get emails from people who want to do what I do, which is, the term is internet marketer, but I'm like, I don't bristle at the term, but I do way more than that, because I've created 400 and almost 500 videos between two channels, with the bulk of them being on this one. And I've written all of my own content. I have not outsourced any of the video creation or the writing. None of that stuff. So as being an internet marketer, I feel that it's, I'm not going to, like I said, bristle or, bash anyone, but that it's too small for what I do. That, it's just too small, because a lot of the things that I do by themselves could be businesses unto themselves. Like just writing, bam, that could be a business by itself. The video thing, that can be a business thing, because, I've started helping out people that I see who are trying to do this, and I'm like, look, I actually made a whole bunch of mistakes, and let me tell you what to do. Do this, and I'll help you, because I know how freaking hard it is. And also in this video, I'm going to answer this, because there's a lot of people who have not seen the video. Why is Glendon Cameron out of the storage auction business? What I do takes so much effort. I actually have an assistant. I'm not going to auctions anymore. To be honest, I am so excited that I can actually make a living as a writer. I'll probably never ever do auction business again. And it's not because I don't love it. At times I miss it, but at times I kind of like, damn, when I go out and buy new stuff, it's like, man, if I was in the business, this would have been really, really cheap. But it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off, because I don't believe you can have it all. I honestly don't believe you can have it all. I think you can have it all in steps and stages. So for me, if I want to be a writer, if I want to do this type of stuff, I had to let that go because I would be crazy. And also I wouldn't be really unvarnished with you because if I was still doing that, I'm not going to tell you all my secrets and how to do this. And I'm not, because Georgia is one of the most competitive storage auction markets in the country. So I'm going to write a book, tell you all my secrets, then go out there and compete with you with the information that I sold you. That makes no sense whatsoever. Not to me. To someone else, maybe. To me, it doesn't. So I can relate this business experience on my failures and teach you how to be successful. I have a lot of fun. I get a ton of emails. I get a lot of, hey, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even be trying this. If it wasn't for you. And what I really love is I'm starting to get more and more emails like, hey, I have really no interest in going out to storage auctions, but I love your business advice. And that's why when I said that, being an internet marketer, it's kind of limiting because I do so many more things. This past weekend, I actually gave a little talk. It's the first little speaking engagement to a group of people, nice people, and they seem to really like it. So that's something else that I'm doing. So I can't be as deep up in units in doing this. And there's a lot. And the reason I'm telling you that is you have to make a decision. This whole fantasy of you can have it all, you can do this and that. I think the work-life balance thing is a myth. I do. I honestly do. Because if you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're in the tech sector, the amount of energy, effort, and time it takes to launch a business is phenomenal. There is no work-life balance being an entrepreneur like that. Certain businesses, you might be able to pull it off. There's this group of organic farmers that built into their business plan that they would have a lot of time, and they were successful. But see, they weren't trying to be better than someone else. They were completely different than other people. That can get you far. But the work-life balance thing, to me, it's a recipe for insanity. Because you have people like, you should be able to work 80 hours a week and be with your wife and be with the kids. Now, to me, life is about trade-offs. You got to make a decision and you got to accept the consequences. For me, doing this is not as much money as the storage auction business. That was a trade-off. I'm cool with that because even when I was really rolling, I lived a pretty simple lifestyle. I don't think money defines me, and I don't do this for money because I do it because it's freaking fun. I do it because I wake up and it's like, hey, what's in the email box today? It's a freaking party. I've never had a job where I felt like that. I only felt like this in my own businesses because I have a personality. I tend to cuss a lot. I say fuck. People are like, oh, he said the F-bomb, and they lose their minds, and there's some folks who don't want to associate with me. Great, that's your decision. Move on, because other people are having fun at this party. But I can only do this because I made those decisions. Listen to me. You have to make a decision and you have to make a commitment and be cool with it. Because as long as you're half immersed, you're vasculating, you're all over the place with this stuff, you're going to get those type of variable, crazy, mixed up results. But once you commit and you put your heart and effort into it, you will notice a yield that is totally different. And that's why I do this writing thing, because it's like fun. And then I get to leverage off and I get to meet people, and I've had opportunities that have come to me because I actually had the tenacity to write and finish that first book, which had a whole bunch of errors, and part of this video is going to be about mistakes. We live in a perfectionism culture where if it ain't perfect, something's wrong. And look at me. First book, screwed up, made mistakes, still sold it. Had to rewrite it. That did a little bit better, had to rewrite it again. And because I come from that age of, I went to a school system where if you didn't get your lesson, if you didn't do right, they left your ass back. But see, they told you, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, you're getting held back. You knew what the deal was, you knew the expectations, and unless you had some serious learning problem, it was pretty much your damn fault. I grew up in that era. So I'm like, okay, made mistakes, make it better, make it better, make it better. But because I made mistakes and I got roasted and I deserved to get roasted, my self-esteem did not suffer because I knew I could make it better. So you understand, in this thing of starting business and stuff, you're going to stumble, you're going to fall, you're going to embarrass yourself, people are going to talk about you, but that's cool. Because once you go through all of that stuff, when you come out on the other side, people can't tell you shit. People can talk stuff and you like, because see, you know. you know in here and you know in here that what you're capable of because you went through it and you did it. But as long as you're just like thinking, yeah, I think I am. No, because you remember the story of the little train from way back in BC before cable. The little train was actually on the tracks. The little train actually was like, I think I can, but the little train was actually moving too. To have positive thoughts with no action, this is a waste of time, I think. But to have positive thoughts married with action, you're gonna get further than you normally would. So that's the deal. But all kinds of cool stuff is going to be in iBuyIProfit.com. I intentionally have done things to keep it small because I've noticed something, and this is for people who want to do the internet thing. You're better off with a small group of folks who are highly engaged than a whole bunch of folks who halfway give a damn. Seriously, I mean, my mailing list was about 5,000. Currently, it might be at 400, 500. So essentially, I got rid of, purposely and intentionally got rid of 92% of my mailing list. Why? Because there's a whole bunch of people they got the email and they ain't open it, and it didn't matter. What they were saying is, I don't want this shit. So why give it to them? I really thought about that because once again, this is something I learned from the continuing education because I was listening to a webinar about email marketing, and I've listened to a lot of stuff, but what these people said made so much sense. It's like, they don't want it, don't give it to them. I'm like, pretty much. And, I was like, oh. And that day, I made a decision. I was like, I'm getting rid of it. And then the next day, the email went out. Last email that you're getting from Glenn and Cameron, unless you get on this one list. And that's it. Because I track stuff, and it's the same people over and over again. I was just like, hey, you need to cater to those people. Those folks are on the team. Those are the folks who are suiting up to play the game. That's where you need to be, and let the other ones do whatever the hell they want to do. And that's where I'm at. So if you get into this space, you got to understand, size sometimes doesn't matter. I mean, seriously, it doesn't. You are better off having a highly focused, highly targeted group of people who really care about your product or service versus 1,000 who are just like, oh, it's you again? Really? Okay. Yeah, I'll look at that later. Delete. All right, this is Glendon Making Money with Storage Unit Auction.